Hello, turkey eaters, meat beaters, degens and cucks, demons and angels, and everything in between. I'm your host, Disaster, and welcome to the Degeneration Podcast, episode 37, the podcast for the degenerate generation. Here with me is my charming co host, Mandato. Please introduce yourself.
Uh, hmm. Hi. You know what? No, you know what? I'm not going to introduce myself. I'm just gonna say hi, hello. I'm Mondado the Arbiter. You probably already know me. And if you don't, you'll know me soon enough.
All right, and Mandato and Vivi the Witch have redeemed Comfy Time and Head Pets, um,
Which,
respectively.
which is why it's happening.
And as for
Yes.
announcements, today, tomorrow I will be going to Anime Dallas. I don't know which times I will be there, but I will tweet about it. So you guys will know when I will be there. Yes, I will be in my in my Yujiro Hanma outfit, which I still need to take a picture of for Twitter.
The pants are comfy.
The pants are very comfy, yes. Other than that, I don't know how streaming will be this passing week, this next week, just because I'm gonna be over at my mom's house and I'm not sure how that's going to go. But hopefully things go well, and I'll be able to stream this week. Other than that, do you have any announcements, Madara?
Rest assured, I will attempt to get him to play multiplayer for Devil May Cry. However, I don't think he will say yes. But you know what? I'm gonna try anyway, just in case.
I mean, if that's what people want to see, if that's what people want to see,
If you
I'll
want to
hop
see
on
it,
multiplayer Devil May Cry.
multiplayer Devil May Cry, man. It's
We'll
awesome.
see, we'll see, we'll see. As for our guest for tonight, we have Grim Graham back here again to talk about many things. Eclipse Phase, the session that just passed, also some other things, wrapping up some topics from last time, talking about some new topics. Uh, High Spice Guardian,
High
what?
Tumbler Spice.
Yes, High Guardian Spice. Yes, um, the interesting mark that has left on the Crunchyroll community.
I mean, we are kind of late to this show, but I only learned that it actually released a week after it came out.
Yeah, I guess we're a little late, but we only have this podcast every other
The fuck?
weekend,
Yeah,
so
who the fuck cares, man?
look,
It's good.
I don't care. I will bring up stuff from 5 years ago. I don't give a fuck. As long as it's still
And as we
relevant.
all know, I'll bring stuff up from the fucking Bronze Age if I have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm here, second consecutive stream in a row.
Yeah. Honestly, so many things have been going on this past weekend that, and I was thinking, should we actually do like some special event while we're here? I'm not sure. We just decided, I just decided to scrap the idea just because it would just be easier. And hey, you said you wanted to come back on. You're back on, talking about the
Well,
same
I
topics,
said,
more
I
topics,
said
stuff
if
like that.
asked, I would definitely come back.
Which you were asked, and you definitely did.
Yes. So
Yes.
I'm not wrong, am I?
Well, it's not like I actively sought this out.
Anyway, we are happy to have you back on the stream. Um, and yeah, let's get started. All right, so give a general overview for those people who weren't, there last week, I guess, or 2 weeks ago.
Generally introduce yourself,
Uh,
yes.
I am a Canadian Knuckle of the dungeon master, gamer, historian, philosopher, and absolute fucking coomer.
Yes. The things he shows me in DMs that he has to research. It's interesting to say the least. Let me move this down because I'm gonna sit on the floor now.
And actually, I completely not thinking that I was gonna be on this stream tonight. I a few days ago even like tweeted Mandato something.
What did you tweet him?
Well, nothing interesting.
Are you sure? Are you sure
Nothing
it
interesting.
didn't involve one sexy chiseled jaw?
Fucking hell. Whatever. Okay, yes, it involved a sexy chisel jaw.
What kind of chiseled jaw? A Habsburg jaw, perhaps?
Oh, what?
An inbred fucking jaw.
Oh, that. Big ass lips.
Swear to God.
Big little lips. Fucking big ass lips.
Baffled people by continuing to exist. Yeah. Repeatedly baffled Krishna by continuing to live. That's what it said.
Just live. I got these big ass lips. Oh my god, wait, no. It's like the. Oh, I don't even remember like what was the context for this, but in SpongeBob, Sandy was like fighting her way up a mountain for some reason, or like up these levels of this tower. And at one
Oh,
of
I
the
remember
levels, it
that.
was just the dude with the big ass lips.
Lip service. And it was a chick. I remember that
Oh, it was a
episode.
chick. Okay. I thought it
And the
was a
chaps
dude with the big ass
dried lips that
lips.
cracked and
Wait,
I think that was the point
SpongeBob
where SpongeBob
lips. Oh my god. The big
I
ass
think
lips.
I think that was around the time where SpongeBob was starting to go,
What do you
in
mean?
hindsight.
Starting to go what? Wild?
Starting to
Weird?
like, kind of be shit. Become what
Bad.
it is today.
I don't know. I think I don't think I've seen the newest episodes or something. Or like I haven't seen the new movie. And by new I mean the one that just came out like
With
a few months ago.
CGI, the fucking solid CGI.
Yeah.
I have come to hate CGI.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Like, aside from the fact that it just doesn't have the same charm, it's arguable that especially with certain special effects, it's harder to work with CGI, and I've heard it being pointed out too. That's why the new Cowboy Bebop, like the remake, is so grayish and devoid of bright colors that the original had.
They remade Cowboy Bebop?
Oh, you never heard that?
Maybe not. If I did, I might have forgot about it.
Live action remake on Netflix.
Let's see. Live action Cowboy
Oh
Bebop.
boy, we're gonna see a first time reaction. The silence says it all.
I'm looking at these images. I mean, I mean, doesn't never mind. And what? Hmm. Hmm. I see. I see the problem here.
The problem is they fucking made another remake. That's the problem.
These characters look nothing like the people they're supposed to be.
Uh, okay, so
I see the issue here.
I'm sorry. Just for a moment, can we address something near and dear to my heart?
The Death Note remake or the Death Note live
No,
action?
no. If only. If only.
What?
There
What?
is an anime, or rather, better yet, there is a fantastic manga that exists called Berserk.
Oh.
In 2016,
Uh-huh.
Netflix put a gun to Berserk's head. In 2018, they got greenlit for a second season. It's the longest running Berserk adaptation. And truly nothing makes me sadder.
And wasn't
I've
it
never
also CGI?
I've never
It was
seen it.
entirely 3D CGI.
It looks like the new seasons of Ruby. It
Okay,
looks like
no,
a video game.
like when it tries to get like fucking crazy in terms of like its fights, right?
Yeah.
It's that, but for every scene.
Well, no, I haven't seen Berserk.
Like, yeah, it's new Ruby, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if whenever they go like really weird with like the animation, but for
Man. Oh, I see.
yeah,
I get what you mean. I'm seeing some of
yeah.
these clips, or some of these images.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you're talking about.
So there is nothing more near and dear to my heart that Netflix has butchered than Berserk. And it's so fucking sad.
I have at a certain point, I think it was maybe around the time of the Ghostbusters reboot that I began to realize something, and that is you don't mess with people's childhood. Like,
Yeah.
artistic industries are not like any other industry. People are emotionally attached to these things.
Even if they look like shit.
They have fond memories of them. This is the equivalent of taking someone's childhood toys and breaking them in front of them, basically.
Well, no, it's like taking their childhood toy and replacing it with the same thing but new and like a cheap knockoff.
You
Either way,
know,
It's like
it's like,
it's like taking someone's Ben 10 toy and replacing it with a new Ben 10 toy.
but it was like made in China and it's just some knockoff shit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, I
been
can
it's been 10.5. It's been 9. Like it's the Walmart version.
pretty much like, and I've actually because aside from Cowboy Bebop, I also saw a bunch of other things that were getting remaked and just milked. Like, apparently they came out with a Home Alone reboot, which was horrible. Like, undefendable, a score of like 18%.
No, you know what live action was actually good? The Rurouni Kenshin live action. That was actually good.
I can't say I've seen that one, but like,
I don't think it's by Netflix.
and I
There
remember
you go.
listening to people talk about this Home Alone remake, and they talked about how Home Alone was a product of its time, and even for its time, it was something that was like, it's a miracle it did as well as it did. It was like all the things had to be aligned. And that got
The
me
stars were
thinking,
aligned.
sure.
Oh my
yeah,
god, this guy looks like Oliver Tree.
and it got me
This my
thinking,
guy Oliver Tree.
can you even reboot something? Is that like even physically possible, or is it simply just
Like reboot or live action? Because they're separate.
they can be the exact same thing pretty much? Point
Mm,
is, can you take something that was already done, especially something that was really good, and can you make it again? And I don't think
can
you
you
can,
make it
especially when it
great
comes to
again?
art. Especially when it comes to art, these are things which are products of their time, products of specific minds. You cannot milk them again.
Well, that's the thing, right?
There
Is
It's
is
like even
only one good example in all of history.
Which is?
All of the Helsings.
Okay, that's fair.
There are 3 forms of Helsing. There's the OG, there's Helsing Ultimate, and there's Helsing Ultimate Abridged.
Oh,
and
what about
all
JoJo?
3 are fantastic in different ways.
What about JoJo?
No.
You're saying
Nope.
okay, you're saying the new version of JoJo, the new TV version of JoJo is not better than the original version that came out in like the 80s.
Okay, so first, that's an OVA for specifically 3, and that was horrible. In general.
Okay, you're saying that the remake for JoJo Part 3 was horrible.
I feel left out in this
No,
discussion.
I'm saying that the 80s original was horrible.
Okay,
Why would I care?
Grim, look up JoJo Part
No, I know
3.
it exists. I just don't know anything about it, and I feel kind of left out.
No,
Also,
no.
I'm
It's
telling
we're gonna
good.
you.
talk about
I'm telling
good
you to look at
remakes,
how
if we're,
old it is. How old it looks. It looks
we're gonna
awful.
if we're gonna talk about good remakes, I want to point out True Grit.
True Grit.
Yeah, the original came out in like the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, no, I've never seen this, so I can't speak on this. But you
But
can, so go ahead.
I would say, with some exceptions, and here's the thing, if you're gonna remake something, it has to have like the same kind of spirit to it, but it never does.
Yeah.
And it's because,
It has to be made with love from fans.
well, not from
And
fans,
well,
just
not
by,
just from fans, but like from professional fans.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Fans who
Because
are also
Here's the
professionals.
problem.
Because
is
I've
that...
seen fan projects that were absolutely cringe. See also Hunt Down the Freeman.
Oh yeah.
And
Here's the problem.
But like, if it's a
uh,
professional making it and they are also happen to be a fan, then we get fantastic fan projects, like fan projects in quotes, right?
mhm.
Like, God, what was it? Uh,
as I was saying, like, fuck, what was I saying?
like DBZ Average.
Yeah. If we're talking about
They're
like
professional
parodies,
voice actors, so
well, that's a parody? That's the thing.
that's true. Yeah, I guess.
I feel like you can't really reboot something without making it better. That's the problem. Is that unless it's better, the original is always going to be better.
You have
because
a
of
good
nostalgia.
point. And here's the thing, especially with like the Cowboy Bebop reboot, it's like, so let me get this straight. You are trying to somehow make the Mona Lisa from scratch. You are trying to
Yes.
make You're trying to make Van Gogh's Starry Night from scratch, is what you're trying
Yes.
to say. You are trying to raise the bar on what is objectively perfection.
Well, that's the thing, is that you have to hardcore raise that bar. Because if you
Like,
don't, then it's gonna be worse than the original. Because it's a copy
but
off.
that's saying, if it's, you can't raise a bar on perfection, like at that, like you're setting yourself up for failure.
Well, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
Here's-
Okay. Van Gogh's vision was fantastic and was close to and basically was perfection, right? Which is why the idea is to not replicate it, but to make something equal but different.
Something inspired by it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
something inspired
You
by
make
it,
something
not
unique, but something that clearly has inspiration from
exactly
something else.
like,
Samira
That's
and
why
Devil May Cry.
remaking doesn't work.
yeah. So like an example, The Lion King, which was inspired by Hamlet, but
Yeah.
obviously it's a completely fucking original thing.
Yes.
Yep.
But it's
an inspiration.
That's the thing. Like, when you try to reboot something that was so amazing, it's always gonna fall short.
Mm-hmm.
Its sins are committed before it even releases.
Unless the reboot is objectively better than the original, like as we said,
Which is
JoJo
impossible.
Part 2. JoJo Part 3. The original was pretty okay for the time, but the reboot was so good that it completely replaced its original.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was good for its time, but it was just okay. It wasn't like perfection.
Yeah, that's why
That's
I'm
what
saying
we're getting at here.
you have to blow out the bar if you're gonna remake something.
Yep. That's like, for example, the Resident Evil remakes. Good fucking example. The original Resident Evil games were fantastic for their time, but the remakes are not only polished, but they fix a lot of the problems that the old ones had. Depending on the remake, obviously, but like 1, 2, and 3, fantastic games on their own that
Oh yeah.
just so happen to have basically copy pasted the old one. But what if it were made in modern day with everything fixed and polished?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the what's it called? Let's see. The remake of not Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time for the 3DS. It was the same thing rebooted to another console, but it fixed a lot of the problems that the original had.
Actually, I remember quite a few problems that. So I never played the original Ocarina of Time, but I've seen it being
Right.
played.
I played both of them.
I will say this: the dead
Mm.
hand in the 3DS version, you couldn't avoid it. You had to let it attack you. You couldn't mash the button to get out of the hands. I've tried.
That
Okay, yeah, fair enough. The dead hand.
Also,
Okay, the
on a
dead
com-
hand. Or you mean wait, dead hand?
yeah,
You mean the wait, dead
mini
hand.
boss of the Shadow Temple, that really gross
Ocarina.
looking thing with the teeth.
Oh, that thing. I I don't remember this boss. I remember this boss. I don't remember ever having problems with this boss per se.
In the 3DS version?
Yeah,
Well, I did. I
because
don't know.
that was the thing is that I played the original version so long ago that I really only remember the 3DS version.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, by the
and
way, on a completely separate note, I finished the entire Shadow Temple without the truth lens.
really,
okay.
Yes.
Well,
why?
just flexing.
Like
Just
why? Yeah, it is literally just a flex.
Because I
There's
didn't
no
know how to get
reason
the
to be.
fucking truth lens, and
Oh,
I just brute forced the dungeon without it.
okay. Am I the only one that did not have trouble with any of the water temples?
I didn't find it that bad.
which
Everyone
is
had.
like,
Everyone was
bro,
so
I
angry about the water temple in Ocarina of Time. I never had an issue with it.
I didn't either.
But yeah, I think the easiest the best thing about the 3DS version was the motion controls
I
cuz it
hated
just
it.
it made aiming the bow a lot easier
No, it didn't.
because you could well, if you're
Hey, here.
used to motion controls. If you're not used to motion controls are going to suck. That's just how motion
No,
controls work.
no, bullshit. I played VR before. I know motion controls, and I can tell you this: Nintendo
That's
can suck a big fat fucking knuckle of V cock.
that's motion controllers
Okay, buddy, have you ever
in a
had to
virtual
try and
space.
play Ocarina of Time while strapped in a car, and you had to like aim your fucking thing like over 180 degrees just to aim at something, and it
yes.
It sounds
in the
like a
middle of a
Cardiff.
combat scenario while you're strapped into a fucking car seat?
Yes.
Bullshit.
It sounds like a Cardiff. Sounds like the car is the
Sounds like
problem.
bullshit to me.
Sounds like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Noel.
I mean,
Little
sounds like a
bitch.
Cardiff to me.
You know what? You're right. Fuck you.
Because cars fuck every motion controls. If you try to do VR in a car, it wouldn't work.
Then why the fuck put it on a 3DS?
Because it's
Because you can
cool.
use it anywhere else. Anywhere but a car. Anywhere but a moving vehicle. But
Nintendo sucks balls. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Can we talk about High Guardian Spice now? Because
Okay,
we have
okay,
to.
okay, 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 okay.
okay,
High
okay.
Guardian Spice.
Moving to High Guardian Spice.
Let's
What
talk
the hell?
about first impressions of High Guardian Spice, the fantastic anime.
It met
Anime?
all of my expectations.
Are you trying to say that it wasn't very high in the first place, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was exactly how I expected it to be. Actually, that's not true. It did surprise me with how low quality it ended up being. I was
That's fair.
expecting I was expecting it to be competently made, but just overshadowed by the fact that
It's
it
horrible.
was no, overshadowed by like its reputation it gotten way before it released. But I was expecting
Yeah.
it to be like competent and something that we could look back in a few years and objectively appreciate. No.
that was a
Nope, nope,
thing,
nope,
right?
nope,
Like
nope, nope,
when
nope,
they
nope, nope.
first
Okay.
announced it, everyone's like, "Yes, this is gonna be shit," and they did nothing to subvert that,
Like, again,
according
I
to
thought it was gonna
reviews.
be at least competently made. No, I was wrong. That
So,
was
my friends, I there
like
is
I knew it
an
was gonna
mm,
involve like a lot of like very poorly shoehorned Tumblrism, but I'm like, it's probably gonna be at least competently made. No, it's not competently made. It's shit. It's objective shit in the most humiliating, degrading way possible.
I just find the designs of the characters, like their, like, let's just say their outfits, very boring.
okay. So there's
Uninspired.
okay. There's
You're
a
describing the entire show in a nutshell.
I don't there when I was younger, there was a YouTuber by the name of Misty Cronexia.
Are you gonna talk about the eight seals?
Yep,
Are you gonna talk about?
let's do it.
Are you gonna
Yep,
talk about the eight seals?
we're talking about the Eight Seals.
Shut up. We're not talking about the eight
We're
seals.
talking about the Eight
There's
Seals.
no way we're talking
Alright,
about the
so
eight seals,
Misty
dude.
Cronexia was a or is, sorry, a YouTuber, right? Their main thing is just they have fun with like anime shit, right? They're a weeb. Um,
They were part of that whole like the Anime Man and like all those other
yeah, yeah, Mother's Basement, that sort of thing.
yeah.
But like they got a partnership with with Crunchyroll
Wait, was it
to
was it
create.
with Crunchyroll?
It
I thought
was
it was an
with
independent project.
Crunchyroll. Nope.
Holy
To
shit.
create
It
what?
was they made something called Misty Cronexia and the Eight Seals.
Well,
Which I
wasn't it
know
then
nothing about, and I don't
changed
think I
to
can contribute to
Chronexia
this.
and the Eight Seals?
That's true. It was changed to Cronexia and the Eight Seals, but it was about the OC of the care of like the person, right? And
Misty?
just to create a world that they inhabit, whatever. It just uses the same model, but it's obviously a different character. And it's a fully animated, whatever, fan project in quotes. Jesus fucking Christ. If you have any doubt as to how it went, may I refer you to the IMDb page that rated it as a 2.4.
May I refer to
I
you
only
as to
found
the fact that
very
there's only 2 episodes of it, I think?
And it was
Two and a
canceled
half
after the second
episodes?
episode.
Two and a
Yep.
half episodes, mind you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm
the
actually trying
intro's
to
a
Google
banger.
search the images. There are very few images, like very
Yeah.
few. Holy
And they're
shit.
all kind of ass. the
Honestly,
problem the problem is I can't hate it because do you know who they got for the opening track? My boy. My bestest boy. My fucking cinnamon roll. Static P for the
It
intro.
did?
Yeah.
How?
Static P get the intro. I don't
Oh,
know.
right. No. Actually, that's the best part of the show by far. That song is
Dude,
good.
it's a
I
fucking
have no
banger.
idea what you're talking about, but I'll say this. Looking at the art, it doesn't look bad. Like, I like the
It just
shading. I like
It's
the,
it just looks uninspired.
I
it,
mean,
it looks like
I
something
mean,
Derpixen would make by herself. Or by their self? I
that
don't know
it's
who
not the
Derpixen.
most eye-catching. Well, a few parts are, but still, I found at least this looks better in High Guardian Spice.
it's not.
It's not. It's
I don't know. It
unfortunately.
certainly looks better.
Okay, it might
God.
look better. That's true.
But
Like
It
that's
is
also the
not
it,
better.
thing.
it does not look
Chronexia and the Eight
like
Seals came out.
Grid.png.
Chronexia and the Eight Seals came out like 5 years ago, mind you. It came out in 2016, or at least that's when Rewind was posted by Misty. Oh
But
my
yeah,
god.
High Guardian Spice. So like you all know about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do.
That is there is so much about it which just baffles me. I want to know the behind the scenes of that show. I want it, like, I have, like, this, every now and then I binge Matt McMuscle's What Happened series, and I find it so
Mhm.
fascinating. I want to What Happened on High Guardian Spice,
Oh my god.
because I want to know what went behind the scenes of this.
Go wrong. Yeah.
Because,
So wrong.
like, I know this much. Ray Rodriguez, the creator of the show, I don't think he actually uh has been like a
Showrunner
sh
before.
yeah,
First project, yeah.
very first project,
Mm.
which was given this professional budget and everything. Because here's the thing, don't you like have to work up to that position? You don't just make
Oh,
that.
showrunner? Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be a writer like Stephen Moffat. Like
Yeah,
Stephen Moffat ran from like just a writer for the Doctor Who shows until he got given Sherlock and then Doctor Who after.
and then yeah, like you work your way up, but they just decided to take this obscure webcomic from Tumblr. Actually, now that I think about it, I have heard this rumor. It's unconfirmed though, or at least unconfirmed by me. And that is that Crunchyroll wasn't the first people they tried to approach with this.
Ah.
It's just the first one that actually took them in like some orphan puppy.
Yikes. Oh, this is the
Like,
only design I actually kind of like out of any of the designs, which is that like cat girl or whatever. She's the only design that actually like feels appealing at all.
Fair enough.
uh, I no. She that looks uninspired. I'll tell you who I liked like visually the most, and that's Parsley.
I don't name the color of their hair.
The little dwarf chick.
Oh, okay. She
Like
looks like Poppy. She looks like a Poppy ripoff.
I wouldn't know, but I do know this. I just want to hug her. I just want to pick her up and hug her like some big stuffed animal. Like I want a parsley fumo.
Okay,
Okay.
let me
Awesome,
let
I
me show you a
guess.
picture of Poppy. All right.
Poppy's fucking adorable after
Poppy
her
is
visual rework.
the best.
But yeah,
Come
like
on. Look at her.
actually looking back on the because there are a lot of people going through yeah, I can see the similarity. But yeah, nah, I can't.
She is a small blonde girl who wields a hammer and
Pretty much.
has brown and bronze as their main colors.
You know what? You know what? That's probably what inspired it.
Probably. Or they're both inspired by the
Bro,
same thing.
which is what?
I have no idea. So,
Some short, busty German girl or some shit. I don't know.
I guess. Who knows? Honestly.
Uh, but like looking through a lot of what Harry Geyer and Spice was, you could see there were some seeds of potential that just got fucked up so badly. Like a good example of this is the fact that a lot of like the side characters were in some ways actually likable and interesting. Because it's like they actually had flaws and they had arcs and they had personality. So it's just amazing how
It went
uh
so fucking poorly.
it's like uh I've heard people I've actually come up with an idea and that is what if like a bunch of I wouldn't even call them fans, just trolls just put in effort to make a high quality spin-off of the side characters just to like show the
The
fucking
showrunners.
writers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Easily.
just to
Have it
show the
picked up by
writers of
like
High Guardian Spice how it's fucking done.
have it picked up
Like,
by like Rooster Teeth or something and have them just go to town.
Be fun.
Yeah.
and I really want there to be an abridged series of High Guardian Spice. That would be so amazing.
Oh no. It could be an abridged series like the SAO abridged series that literally is just an objectively better version of the show. It is a
Again,
parody, but the characters are parodied so well that they have better motivations than the actual characters in the
see,
show.
that that is something I would
It
find
is
so
insanity.
insulting. The fact that it's something that's supposed to parody your work, but it does a better
And
job.
it's made by a small team called Something Witty. They literally just dubbed over the shit and
And it's
edited a little
funny
bit.
because that's their first fucking project
Yeah.
ever.
Uh,
And
it,
they
So
made a
you know,
better
you know what this reminds me
project
of? You know what this
than
reminds me of?
any
Have you ever?
Plex.
This reminds me of when 4chan's V board
than the
decided they were
fucking
going
professional writer.
when they decided that they were going to dub over the cutscenes of Hunt Down the Freeman, and it was hilarious. But I don't think you guys know what I'm talking about.
What?
Oh,
Let
Hunt on the
me
Freedman? Yeah, I know what that is.
hunt
Yeah, but we're
down.
specifically like so 4chan's V board decided like just for
Oh,
shits
okay.
and giggles they were going to dub it,
Uh-huh.
and it's so glorious in so many ways.
Oh my god. What
When
the
you
fuck is
hear who's the guy who fucking backstabs you in that game, hearing him in this girly voice call you senpai while you shoot him with a revolver.
the fuck?
Yep, this was the dub.
Senpai. It's so great. Yeah,
Mooch,
unironically.
senpai. You lied to me. You betrayed me.
My heart.
That was the voice they used for that scene. It was
Oh my
fucking hilarious.
Is it like live dubs? Like Snapcube?
No, it wasn't live. So what it was basically a bunch of guys on V decided, we're just gonna get together, pick whatever section you want, and then submit like a voiceover of it, and then some guy who organized the project just splices it all together into a big ass fucking thing.
I
Sort of
see.
like 4chan can be surprisingly organized when it wants to. Like V also has
But
like
only in the stupidest ways.
yes,
Oh
like
yeah.
V the musical,
Yes.
because V decides every they have this annual like musical parody contest, and they have like albums that come out every year of V the musical, and they can get really good. Uh, anyways, back to Hard Guardian, because I still want to fucking milk that show for all the fucking stupidity it's worth.
There's this page that says 5 reasons to be hyped for Crunchyroll's High Guardian Spice. 5 reasons to be worried in parentheses.
Like, there was actually one scene that completely baffled me in that show, and that was I don't even know much about the context. All I know is that it involved a rat getting dissolved in acid,
The
and
fuck?
you got to watch. Like, you got
What?
to watch skin disintegrate, so revealing the full muscle tissue like yours truly.
Let me see.
And then you got to see that disintegrate into bones, which disintegrate into nothing. And it's like, what the fuck is the show?
Let me just High Guardian Spice rat.
Like,
It's
I'm
just
surprised.
screenshots of the show. It's nothing about the rat. Oh
Hold
my
on, I'll try
god.
to find it. I'll
It's
try to find it.
oh my god, this meme. It's literally just look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power, and it's just Sailor Moon.
They did have a Sailor Moon transformation, and it was
So
so
fucking bad. It was so bad. Jesus Christ.
Really?
like it was so like here's the thing. Like, I've never watched Sailor Moon, but I know the transformations and how
Mm-hmm.
they like have different camera pannings and they
Yeah,
zoom in and they have
Yeah.
different angles. They
it's
didn't do that. Like,
it's the
Really?
point. The point of a transformation in a magical girl anime is to be the hypest and most visually stunning part of it, and it was horrible.
Like you gotta fucking send it if you're copying
Yeah,
Sailor Moon of all things. You gotta
exactly.
fucking send like perfect example, Star Guardians, League of Legends. They just sent that shit. They sent that shit to Saturn.
okay, here's the scene.
Okay, let's see. Okay, you know what? I'll pull it up on
Courtesy of Spilling the Milk, who basically did a live reaction to the whole series.
okay, I'll pull it up on wait, is it There's nothing that'll get me copyrighted, right? We can watch it.
I don't think so.
Honestly.
It's
Oh my
Oh.
god!
Oh my God.
Holy shit!
Oh, she's dead.
She's
Oh,
She's
this has been
died.
dubbed over.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, she's just getting high.
Is she
What
high
the
and
hell?
she's got acne? Like,
Yeah, but keep
there's a lot of
watching.
things going on
Happening?
here. So what are these little balls?
Oh.
What
Oh
the
my
fuck? What the fuck is this?
What the?
This show's like a regular children's
Yeah.
show, and then they just deteriorate a rat.
Bit of a continuity
Yeah.
error. Why did the
I
other
thought
girl's
you were
face
showing-
melt?
I thought you
wanted
were
some
showing me
horror.
the-
I was ready
honestly-
for this to go Madoka, and
I thought you were showing me what's it called, the transformation.
No. That's the
God.
rat. And here's the
Fucking
thing.
rat. Oh my
Nobody
God.
talks about that scene. Nobody talks about how horrifying that is and how much it does not belong.
No, you know what? I think if they just full Madoka Magica sent it, I think that probably would have saved the show. Like, you know what
Maybe.
happens in Madoka Magica, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking to
I don't.
Grim. Okay, so basically
No.
it's basically your typical like jolly like magical girl anime, right? Everyone's happy, everyone's like,
But it's
oh yeah,
supposed
everyone's
to be
super
subversive.
cutesy. Yeah, it's subversive. And then as soon as they get to the monsters, there's these fucking nightmares that like eat people alive and tear them to shreds. And
Yeah,
it's fucked up. It's actually nuts.
yeah, I like subversion like that, but actually that's the thing. I was trying to figure out who exactly is the audience of this show, like children or adults. It's so bipolar. Like
They couldn't
there's
figure it
one
out.
you've probably seen the infamous trans explanation scene. That's definitely a very common clip.
What?
So there's a scene in High Guardian Spice where one of the characters explains that they are trans.
They do like a
Because-
full explanation.
So
Because I'm pretty sure people know what being trans is nowadays,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I decided I was going to send this to someone, another VTuber who I'm just doing quickly shout out. Their name is Cupid, male identified, female to male, which is why I sent this clip, because the character in the show was female to male,
okay.
and I asked him. I said,
Is this cringe? Were you doing that test? it's like
basically, I'm like, hey,
something
what do you
that
think about
someone has
this
done. Is this
representation?
cringe? Yeah,
And
representation.
he had a very interesting explanation, something I didn't expect, but it made me think even more about the show, and that was they didn't see the problem with it. Like, he didn't see the problem. He said, yeah, this is exactly how I'd explain it to a child. I don't see the problem with it. But that got me thinking, well, yeah, you're explaining it to a child, but here's the thing.
But
like-
who's the audience?
Yeah, because here's the thing, like, entertainment should not be realistic. It can be to an extent, but the point of like a narrative, not even in a video game, the point is to not be real life because real life is fucking boring and it sucks.
It's supposed
like-
to suspend your idea of reality.
Yeah, like you don't want to like actually one of the most hilariously bad ideas I've seen for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. By the way, this wasn't something anyone actually did. It was just a thread on TG, like, what is the worst D&D campaign you
Idea.
can think of?
Yeah.
And one of them was, the adventurers have to, like, after going through a dungeon, they have to file their loot in tax returns. And if they fail to, they get like imprisoned or have to pay a fine or something, and they can't adventure for like 2 years or something. Also, a share of their earnings go to the guild and shit.
Oh my god. What?
It's like imagine playing D&D and having to file taxes for like dungeoneering.
God.
And it's like, of course, nobody even remotely mentions that unless it's some kind of a parody thing, like some sort of satire.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. So you wouldn't. They gave like the straight up explanation you would to like a 5-year-old about what being trans is, and it just felt so unnatural.
It just felt
It
out
felt
of place.
Yes. And this actually goes to a core of something, because you know me, I'm philosophical, and this is
Mhm.
like a aesthetic philosophy, which I am now convinced, and that is, if you want to do representation, you have to use a little something called subtlety.
Yeah.
And
I disagree entirely. Subtlety is for the weak.
I would define subtlety as something in the environment that influences people, but they don't even know they're being influenced.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Actually,
something
okay.
that it's something that seems like it belongs, like wallpaper. Subtlety is making an elephant in a room look like it belongs in the room.
Oh my god. We actually encountered this when we watched have you heard of Arcane?
I assume I know nothing about anime.
It's not an anime.
It's not. It's a
It's
league
a
thing.
new League of Legends show. But
Oh,
anyway, so in the show,
okay.
okay, for anyone who hasn't watched it and doesn't want to be spoiled, shut your ears for a little bit. Okay, so in the show, there's a character named Caitlyn. We're aware that Caitlyn and this other chick in like the lore have something going on, and the other chick takes her to this like underground slums area, and they're trying to get information from these like prostitutes, basically, from this brothel, basically. And she's like, okay, you need to blend in. Like, she's like, look, you gotta use your looks, you gotta do this and that. And Caitlyn, she gets pushed onto a guy, and she gets super awkward. She doesn't know what to do. But later we see her, after the other characters done getting their information, we see her with a girl, and they're all having fun. They're absolutely kicking it, and
She's fucking
it
charming
flows.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, it just flows so naturally from scene to scene.
So, and the reason why that works is because, like I said, it's about making something feel like it belongs. You don't question it. You
Yeah.
don't think about it too much.
Well, you think about it afterwards, but only afterwards, not in the moment.
Hmm.
Because,
Like,
like, after it's all said and done, when you look back on it, you're like, oh shit, she's more comfortable around women because she's attracted to them.
Yes, she is a lesbian.
Yeah.
not even after the fact, even in the moment, but it's something where that you see it, but again, it just feels like a feature of the environment.
It
That's the
feels
importance of
right.
subtlety.
It feels
And it,
right.
nobody, and here's
It
the thing,
doesn't feel
nobody
out of
knows how to
place.
do that with representation anymore, or if they ever did, to be quite honest, because they always have to make it a priority over the narrative.
They have to point it out. It's like, look, look, see, I'm using representation. See,
Yes.
instead
You
of
said
Another
like,
that
oh,
really
this.
fucking weirdly.
Well, no.
Like,
Have
who?
you?
No, no,
No,
no.
it's
I'm saying,
the.
like,
You know what I'm doing it based on, right? Like the.
yeah,
See, I have the crown. See, that thing
yeah.
from
Yeah,
Shrek.
like another good
But like,
example is a show that I actually do like, Dragon Prince. Have you seen that?
Wow, shit, really? All right, no, no, I do like it, and I have seen it, but like, basically, no one talks about it anymore.
So
I
I think it
want
was
it to get a season 4.
uh mm, so in season 2 in particular, we meet that princess whose parents were like, a lesbian couple, and that's like explained in the backstory. But here's the thing about that. They don't go into any detail about that when they
Yeah.
need to. Because, like, okay, this is not the modern day world where we have, like, methods of artificial insemination. So, how the fuck was this child born? Was it, like, magic? Was there a father? Was it, like, immaculate conception? They don't even remotely mention that. And
well,
that
yeah,
just makes it stick out. It's not just about not mentioning it, it's about it needs to fit in the specific context.
well, yeah. But that's the thing. Like, did they need to mention it?
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
okay, it's a little weird,
Like,
and it's
it's
like
like, oh,
it's a question that goes unanswered. But
like,
did they
that's
need to? Was it
That's a
important to the main storyline?
no, but well, yes and no. Like, here's the thing. It just it was as if okay, let me put it to you this way. It's like if they decided to have the fucking scout from TF2 as an extra in the show, in one scene and then they never bring it up again. It's like, does it contribute to a plot? No. Does it need to? No. Does it still fucking stick out horribly? Yes. Because that's the thing with that scene. It's like, you can explain that in a modern context, but in a fantasy context, that goes without any clear explanation. There are many ways you can answer that, and it's a good opportunity for world building.
I think that's a good
But
opportunity for that to be the focus of like the
The
story.
episode.
Like maybe his father died, or like he was summoned and they're like not his real parents, or like
yeah,
he was an
there
orphan.
there are
That's a good
so
plot
many
device.
there are so many ways that this like parental dynamic of two mothers could have like been explained, but they just assume that, I don't know, we're applying real world logic to a fantasy world, which doesn't necessarily
Okay, fair
have
enough.
to.
Need it.
Honestly,
That's the thing.
I
It
think
has to
it's
fit specifically with the context. If it's
yeah.
not a modern context, it needs to be explained. Otherwise, you don't need to explain it because it's a modern context. You already have the context.
Mm-hmm. I think it only felt out of place because it was a missed opportunity for like for
Kind of.
that to
Like,
be explained at
yeah,
some point.
I think you're better at explaining it because like it did feel like there was more to it, but we just never saw it. It's like, okay, this is like, are we not going to address this? Because this is a pretty notable issue.
It was like getting teased with a storyline. Like there's a story here. We're not going to tell you though.
Yeah, but
It's
it
a story
still
we're
just
not.
draws attention to it when it doesn't need to. Like, and that's actually one thing I've learned after observing High Guardian Spice and observing that trans scene was you either have a very brief explanation of it or you make an entire episode dedicated to it.
Yeah, and like, well, if you make an entire episode dedicated to it, you're delegating your audience is children who don't understand the concept,
Yeah,
and the show is to explain it.
meanwhile the show involves someone saying the word bastard, there's blood and like some amounts of gore and of course fucking the dissolving rotten acid.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I don't even think that's something you'd put in like a fucking old school like rubber hose anime.
no, they would make it very cartoony.
Yeah, they'd have it
They would cartoon it up.
like a very like bouncy skeletons
Mm-hmm.
being all too
It would
spooky
like
for me.
quickly flash into a skeleton and then just bounce away or something,
Or like it
or
would
like
be
fall
like
apart.
ass gets burned, jump out of the pool of acid.
Yeah. Or it would definitely make xylophone sounds. At least.
Yeah. When the rat falls apart, it's got to make a xylophone sound.
Yeah.
How did xylophones get associated with skeletons? Is it just
Because
because
it's goofy, I guess. I don't know.
like is it just
Someone did it
because
first.
is it just because people connected the dots somehow with like ribs and the keys of a xylophone?
Well, okay, no. If you drop a dried up large bone on a pile
I
of like other dry bones, it
yeah
kind of makes
yeah
that sound.
it makes this like hollow sound very
Yeah,
light.
hollow, like high pitched sound kind of thing, which I assume they connected with bones, and then that's where that thing came from. But yeah, it's like that is a thing. It's very about knowing your audience. Like like in Hell of a Boss,
Yeah.
they are very aware that you understand everything that's happening, so they're not going to address it and teach you about it
Yeah,
because they're very
like
aware this guy's
like
gonna
the
have sex with this guy. He's gonna absolutely fucking rail him.
yeah, they mentioned fucking Moxie getting pegged by his wife, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, we
they
don't.
didn't
It's like
explain pegging. It's just
it's
pegging.
like the only people who wouldn't understand that are maybe like boomers and of course children.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's actually one of my favorite gags of that show. Uh, it was it was the episode where we first see the fan art magnet that is disguised Luna.
Oh yeah. I have a pin of her.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you do,
Yeah.
Mister. I've stuck metal things up my ass before.
I wouldn't stick that pin up my ass. That wouldn't be very. That would not be comfortable at all.
And
What?
and what? Okay, whatever. That wasn't what I was fucking playing. You creep.
What?
Anyways,
It's still
anyways,
in the
but
package,
like they
actually.
talk
It's
like,
like a
but
collector item.
Blitz is like completely against her going to a service,
Yeah.
not service, surface, saying, "Oh no, you know what kind of degenerates are on the surface," and then they look to
They
the
hint at it. It's
audience,
so funny.
and it's like by
It's
this point there
fucking
was so
hilarious.
much fucking like Rule 34 of Luna.
Of course.
It
A-
was just like that is a show that
she's a
understands its audience
she's
so
a
well.
goth hellhound. The furries are gonna be all over it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. There was without a doubt.
goth wolfaboo.
Pretty
Like that
much.
that was like very narrow range of like millennial Gen Z, uh like the kind of people who sort of like grow up and sort of embrace degeneracy in one way or
Yes.
another.
But they were well aware. They understood the assignment. They were they know their audience to a T because
Yeah.
they are the audience.
Actually, now I think about it, Has Been was also a very good example of how to do representation. Cause like when you look at Charlie and Vaggy's relationship, it is very lightly touched upon what their relationship is,
Oh yeah.
and they interweave it in with the dialogue so that it doesn't
Like
like cause any baggage. It doesn't skip a beat. It doesn't drag the show down. The narrative keeps going, but you get an idea of what their relationship is.
like when you first meet them, it's like, okay, these two people are best friends. And then closer and closer they get, it's like, oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
definitely in a relationship.
and they don't have to use words to do it. The body language does it.
Mm-hmm. The
The way they get
animation and
close
just the
to each
way they do it
other,
is just
like
so
the way
good.
Vaggie just holds her chin like she's about to kiss her. It's like, yeah,
Angel
it's
Dust. Angel
yeah,
Dust is a beautiful example
Treat. Angel
of
Dust is a treat.
yep. And
yes.
apparently apparently according to Vivzy, it's canon that he bathes like a chinchilla.
What does that
Which
mean?
so do you know what a chinchilla is?
I'm blanking.
It's okay, so it's a small furry fuzzball of happiness that is so fucking packed full of fur that it's like it suffocates any
Oh,
parasites
I
that get
see.
on it. Yep,
I
Yes,
see.
chinchillas
that's
are
its
these
natural defense.
chinchillas are rodents that have they have the most dense fur of any land mammal.
They're the fuzziest motherfuckers that ever
What this
did.
also means is if they get wet, it means that like mold can grow on them and like it's very unhealthy.
What?
So to bathe a chinchilla, you don't use water, you just have dust. And they just like roll around in dust and it's so fucking cute. And
Uh,
apparently Angel like Vizzy said in one of her streams, it's like, yeah, I like to imagine Angel Dust just like taking dust baths like in sand or something. Which
in
when
Angel Dust,
yes,
just
har har.
absolutely rolling
Which
in
when you think
cocaine.
about it is quite hilarious considering how much cum he must get in his fur.
Oh
It's
yeah,
true.
absolutely,
Actually, you
without a
know,
doubt.
Has Been Hotel is very much like the mirror opposite of what High Guardian Spice was. When you really
Like
think
High
about it,
Guardian
it's like,
Spice was trying to be representative, but they didn't know their audience. They
well,
brought in their audience too
it's
far.
not just that. It's like, so Vizzy started out as just like independent artist, and then this thing just took off. And I wonder if Ray Rodriguez thought that he was going to be like that too when the show got accepted. But the thing is, uh, Vizzy knew animation well. I don't know if Ray did. We already knew by this point Vizzy Pop knew animation,
When
and she
did
had a group of talented people behind her.
High Guardian Spice get announced? When was it first announced?
2018.
2018. Vivzy Pop has been loving this project since like 2014. She
Yeah,
has
it
put
was
she has put almost a literal decade into this show,
yeah,
into this universe.
and it shows not just in the way representation is done, not just the story, but the animation too, which is so silky smooth and clean and some of the best animation you've ever seen.
Like
Meanwhile,
it's
High
not.
Guardian Spice has it has PNG bread
Oh God,
and like fucking Shutterstock watermarks.
that's the thing is that for for like a Hell of a Boss and Has-Been Hotel, it's smooth animation, but it doesn't feel like it's been machine animated. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's 60 FPS
That's
smooth drawing
actually a
stuff.
criticism I've seen with High Guardian is that like when characters moves, it feels like they're gliding because it's like you're basically just dragging an asset and maybe like
Yeah,
animating the legs.
to be fair though, like, it's because Hell of a Boss is hand drawn. High Guardian Spice is just bad.
High Guardian Spice is probably machine animated, like a lot.
Yeah,
Because if you've
a
ever
lot.
watched the why 60 FPS is bad, like that animation video, he explains how like these programs that quote unquote make the animation smoother, it's very robotic and things move from one place to another just straight on a straight
Yeah,
plane. They don't
that
move
that's
realistically.
100% what it is. And it's again like it it just feels like everything it like the groundwork could have been has been hotel, but everything, the animation, the story, the representation, the humor, the audience or lack thereof, everything was just so wrong.
Yeah.
Did they even build hype for this anime or
They
show?
Okay,
Anime,
so
whatever
that's
it
actually
is.
another very interesting point because here's the thing. This show was supposed to come out in 2019. Just think about that.
So
2019.
it got delayed. That's what you're saying.
It did, but it didn't. Now here's where I have to go down the rabbit hole. So, like after the original trailer in 2018 dropped, there was pretty much no hype around it. In fact, by the time 2020 was basically over, people just assumed that Crunchyroll quietly took a High Guardian Spice behind the shed, so to speak.
Tim.
I mean, I would have like at that point I would have been like, okay, yeah, let's just cut our losses. Let's like we've already sunk money into this project. Let's not also sink the goodwill of people, whatever's left of it, because we burned a lot of that too. But no, 2 years after the show was supposed to come out, in the summer of 2021, they announced its release. And this is the interesting part. It had already been confirmed by Ray Rodriguez back in 2019, I think. Production had already wrapped up on season one.
Ah.
So, it was scheduled to release in 2019, and it wasn't delayed. They could have easily released it. They did not. They waited 2 years, probably hoping that the hate would die down. It did not, because the internet does not forget.
No.
Shoot. The internet
And
doesn't forgive either.
that's the thing. If there was
Mm,
so much hate around it and then they made it amazing, it would have completely shifted the tides.
no,
I
no.
think people wouldn't hate it just because of how it was portrayed in the beginning. I
No, they
think.
would. No, no, here's how I think it would have happened. This
All
show's
right.
sins had already been committed before it even released. This show would have been picked apart meticulously, and it was. After it was released, people picked apart and like mocked and like scrutinized every little detail, like about how there's no masculine characters and about how they don't even represent men right.
There's
Uh,
one good guy. One.
yeah, Yeah, like there's
Also, like literally, okay, so it's so fucking overtly like feminist without reason that it is the biggest plot twist of the entire fucking anime is that the protagonist is straight.
exactly. Like that's the thing.
It's
Like,
so funny.
see, here's the thing. If this show released on like Cartoon Network, uh people wouldn't question the fact that the main character is straight. Because like I mean, because they wouldn't be looking that hard. You might have some people, especially trying to draw parallels between it and Steven Universe, which it looks a lot like aesthetically. But overall, people pick this apart simply because of what it was when it first came out. And like who paid for it? Crunchyroll. Like this show developed so much hate before it even came out. And like it was just ravenous dogs like tearing it apart.
I
That's all I have to say
guess.
about it.
I
Yeah,
guess.
that's fair.
Yeah, I think if the show did come out and it was good, I would say it would be appreciated maybe 5 or 10 years down the line. Like once everything is settled and maybe people who weren't there at the time came into it completely fresh, just appreciate it objectively for what it is.
I
But at the
guess.
time of release, there was no way, even if it was good, that it would ever be considered good for its time. It's one of those things that has to be like appreciated later.
I guess.
That's my 2 cents on the matter, anyways.
Sure.
Uh, Now that said, so production wrapped up in 2019. To my knowledge, everyone has moved on to different projects, which means it's up. Suppose it's just up to Crunchyroll to decide. Are we going to renew this? And let me ask you both: do you think they're going to renew it?
No, I don't
No.
think they're gonna renew it because it's not. There's no way that the show, based on what I've heard about it, makes any money.
If anything, I have heard of people who just straight up like canceled their subscription to Crunchyroll.
I heard of so many people that canceled their subscription to Crunchyroll over it. Like
Yeah.
the entire internet canceled their subscriptions over it.
Yeah, it is so amazing just how bad it was. And like I said, a lot of it was first and foremost, it was just because Crunchyroll number one, but the looking at the first trailer, all I could think was, who the fuck put that together? Like
I'll have to see
that
the trailer. I honestly straight up just avoided it because I thought the internet was just gonna forget about it. Like it was some shit thing that got
they did
announced,
forget
and
about
then
it, and they
it
would
just
have
wasn't
forgotten
gonna get
about it.
launched. I honestly
They
didn't think it was gonna come out. That was the thing. I thought they just. I
I
was one of
didn't
those
either.
people who thought they saw the reception and they took it behind the
Yep, behind
behind
the
the
shed.
Took it out
shed
back, yeah.
and shot it. Yeah,
Like, yeah, like that's the thing. It people
and
did
then it
forget
came
about.
out.
Then they announced it this summer, and oh god, why'd they have to do that? Why'd they have to make us remember?
Oh my
Why
god!
they
I
have
think it's even funnier because I just realized, on the image that I sent with the girl from Star Guardian, not Star Guardian, Sailor Moon, saying, "Look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power," and it's High Guardian Spice. I just realized she's talking to Akko from Little Witch Academy,
Yeah,
which
I just
is
know she's
the
wearing
better
shit.
version of this. Little Witch
Yeah.
Academy
Yep.
is such a good show. I
Okay.
love every single second of it.
Uh, uh, Little Witch Academia is actually one of the few animes I have watched, and I watched it at a very special point in my life because I watched it, I think, right after my first year in college, which was a very real, like, shit is getting real, I am now an adult moment for me. And that's the thing about Little Witch Academia that just really hit me hard was like Because looking at Akko, looking at how she struggles, but she is still determined, and even like uh neglecting her own health and well-being for her study, I like it just felt so much like me. Like um,
You felt like
and
you could relate to this character.
yeah, and it only got worse as I went to my engineering program, and it felt even more relatable because fucking okay. Imagine how bored Isaac Newton must have been to decide he was going to invent calculus.
Jesus Christ.
Ugh. I had to
I live
learn
in a world of idiots. What do I do? Invent calculus, I guess.
I think that's another
Whatever.
thing. We can even look at like the Little Witch Academy or Little Witch Academia, the the outfits. Let's just look at the outfits for a minute. Sure, they are very simple. However, they are not only cute, but they are memorable.
exactly.
Like if someone's wearing a Little Witch Academy or a Little Witch Academia outfit, it's easily recognizable. I'm
You
not
know,
going to recognize a single person that is a Hyatt Guardian Spice cosplayer.
okay, I
Let's
might
be honest
recognize
here.
Parsley, but that's just because I like her design.
Yeah. They're just
Like,
very forgettable designs.
no, I will say, I did, just going back to Little Witch for a second, I did feel like there were a lot of things that they did in that show that were just not necessary. Like, the whole plot of saving the world just felt so not needed.
Yeah, the ending was kind of ham-fisted. I feel like that was because they were running out of time and they needed to explain who the fuck Ursula was.
Well, I
So,
don't even think that. I think it just could have been like some slice of life about like someone trying to grapple with adulthood and trying to like take their lives seriously.
mhm.
Like because that's the thing, growing up is scary, especially and like
It's really
I
scary, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know if I mentioned this before, I have a learning disability.
I think
Like
you
What is
have.
it?
and that's another reason why Akko just so like because like she herself has what I guess you would call learning disability. It was really hard for her to use magic. She really had to put so much effort into it, and I just felt so much myself in that. Like I had to like try really hard, harder than I ever had in high school or elementary.
What's your learning disability, if you don't mind me asking?
Attention deficit disorder, autism, and anxiety, which make it
Wait, is autism a learning disability?
it can be.
Okay.
Uh, especially in like social learning in particular.
Oh, well, no, I guess that's correct at least. Took me a very fucking long time.
Especially if you grow up in a school system which doesn't know how to handle autistic kids. Oh, I was a proper little demon, let me tell you.
Yeah, I think I was lucky. I was mostly in good schools.
Uh, let me t like the first few years of my school life was basically being, pardon the phrase, handled by tard wranglers.
Well, that is
Jeez.
really fucking funny to me. Sorry, not the actual like what's going on.
I mean,
The word you used.
yeah, and probably, and my brother considers this the most badass thing I did. In grade four, I just straight up escaped. Like, they kind of had me locked in this room with a window that could open, and I just straight up got out
Just
the
fucking
side of this.
left. Oh my god.
I'm not particularly proud of those days, though, but, uh, yeah. That said, ADD and anxiety are a horrific combination.
100%, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, because you are scatterbrained and you can't stay organized, and you feel the crushing weight of your disorganization slowly crushing you like a vice grip. Oh, it sucks so much. Honestly, honestly, I also don't think I should be a dungeon master. I think I mentioned this before. I just do it because no one else will.
Yeah, well, it must be done type of thing.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact, when I first done GM'd Eclipse phase, that was, I think, the first time I actually did anything online.
Really?
Uh, yeah. And here's the thing. I made the call for people to come before I even read the fucking system.
What?
Yes.
You made a campaign before you read the system.
No, I like made a post on the Roll20 forums about this before I even fucking read the system, so I had to explain to them, can I have a few months to like learn things? Like I'm so
I'm
excited.
guessing they did not last long.
Oh no, uh well, it lasted for those months. It fell apart after maybe end of session 1 or 2,
Ah,
but that's for completely unrelated reasons. I will also say that was a hilarious campaign or adventure because it taught me an important lesson about games like this. Like especially I find with like more science fiction settings, especially when they get really deep into the lore, you can rules lawyer everything, and so it becomes really easy to exploit things. And
Yeah.
yeah.
and one thing I've learned from this is with these kinds of games, you can't just say it's magic and just stop them from picking that lock. If they want to pick that lock, they will. If they want to bust a hole in the wall, they will.
Yeah, and
If they want to put liquid thermite on a maglev train instead of, sneaking aboard the train and stealing the cargo and just derailing it so that everyone fucking dies so you don't have to worry about the security, they will do that.
that was the thing, is that's why I got pissed
That is
earlier.
oddly fucking specific. Okay.
Because that's exactly what happened.
That's
I'm
why
sure it is, yeah. That's
that's
why it's specific, is what I'm saying.
that's why I got pissed earlier, cuz like what's it called? There was just no concept of time. Like there was concept of time when when doing when taking time and taking time to do it and then doing it carefully. There was
So,
no time set for just doing it because there was no turns. So you were just like, well, you got to stop at some point. But I was like, well, there's
well,
no
okay,
rules stopping
so
me from doing that. So that's
I
why I was
will I
pissed.
will admit, and this is why I say I'm not a good DM. I kind of subverted things just because I forgot the rules for trying again. Which, by the way, for future reference, if you want to try something again, it's a cumulative -10 modifier.
What?
Yes.
Why?
So, here's a question. Why is it that a video game is nothing more, or why is a video game more than just pressing a single button over and over?
Well, wouldn't it be a plus 10 because you're gaining experience and knowledge through that task?
Think about it this way, then
That
why
makes no
bother even
sense.
rolling if it means that eventually the odds of success will just be 100%?
How long it
Why
takes,
Because
I guess.
there is time. See, well, that's the thing, is that it didn't even matter in that specific situation anyway.
exactly.
So I it didn't matter if I hacked it or I asked Corellia to do it.
There's a specific
The
blog
only
I think
thing
you
it
should.
makes the only thing it shows is that I'm an incompetent hacker. That's the only thing it shows to the party.
Well, this doesn't just go for that. Like a game like Disco Elysium, which has skill checks everywhere. Like, if they just had it so that you could just keep rolling, then it's
Disco
not a
Elysium is a
challenge.
cool game.
Well, that's the
It is.
problem,
It's
is
an amazing
that
game.
in other situations I would be under a time constraint. So I couldn't just keep trying over and over because in the middle of trying one of those times, I'd get, I don't know, bitten by a snake or like caught by some enforcer
So
or
there's a
counter
blog.
hacked.
There's a blog I think you should read. Called The Angry GM. It's this guy who's basically he's been like a dungeon master for like 20 years, probably closer to 30 now. And he has all this very insightful advice, and I remember reading this guy religiously. And one of the interesting things he pointed out, uh, so why is it that we say press F to pay respects? Let's start with that. Do you remember where that came from?
I do. It's Modern Warfare
2?
because I own the game.
Or Modern Warfare.
Yes, but do you know
No,
why?
it's not Modern Warfare. It's Advanced Warfare. But
Is it
But
Advanced
do you know
Warfare?
why
Really?
that scene
Huh.
itself is so memorable?
yeah, of course.
It's because you're being prompted to press a button just to continue a fucking cutscene.
Yep. You're well. It's not just because of that. It's also because it's supposed to be an incredibly dramatic moment. So it breaks all fucking tension when it tells you to press a button to continue.
Exactly.
It's
So
such a tense moment
what
because
I'm
you're like,
so
this is the person that I just spent all of
exactly.
my tutorial with.
So here is something that I've learned about this kind of stuff. Dice rolling breaks up the flow. Uh, it can be good, it can create suspense, it can create this sense of like possibility or lack thereof. But ultimately, you can't rely on dice rolling to do everything, especially narratively, because it's just like pressing a button to continue a goddamn cutscene. This is also why like certain rules in certain TTRPGs feel redundant. Things like having a second or third chance to do something without any modifiers at all or any like consequence for the original failure. Again, if you just kept rolling and it would get a +10 modifier, then eventually you would get through it, in which case, why bother rolling? In which case, why bother making any kind of suspense? You get what I'm saying, Disaster?
Well, because there's other factors outside of that one decision. And that's the thing. In character, just because there wasn't anything negative that time doesn't mean there wouldn't be anything negative another time. Also, in character, if we're going for RP's sake, it just makes the hacker, the character that's supposed to be the hacker, look useless at hacking. And now I'm just the gun person again. I don't
Okay,
want to be
well,
the gun
that's
person
that's a
again.
problem. That's
But
a
now I'm
problem
just the
with
gun person again.
that's a problem with rolling in general.
Yeah, that
Like
is. Like
theoretically, you could always fail at something that you're supposed to be
you could
fantastic at
always
doing
roll
for
a
no
1.
reason, for
You could
literally no
always
reason.
Well,
you could
yeah,
always roll
but
a 1.
yeah, but to
Which
to
is
get it over
stupid
with, I had to
narratively.
just like I just had to like, okay, just come over here and do it. Because I'm not gonna argue for this type of thing.
Yeah. But I'm saying like narratively, there is always a chance of failure if the DM prompts it.
And
If it makes sense for the character to be able to do it, then I always believe that the DM should just straight up fucking let it happen. Like
that was
if it
Yes.
is
And
just a
so
normal thing that the character could do, like walk down the stairs or some shit.
here's another trick that a good GM uses. Not that I am a good GM or that I will ever admit it, but I know my shit. And that is when you're making an adventure, you have to make it idiot proof. In other words, there always has to be at least one way to foolproof brute force your way to the end. And usually this straightforward path is always the worst possible choice because it's the path that involves you failing everything.
well, that's the thing, is that even if we, let's say we approached another hackable object that was a lock, I wasn't going to hack it again. I was just going to ask Corellia to open it.
Which is probably for the best. In fact, I didn't even
I
prompt him
just
to.
delegated the hacking role to him essentially.
It wasn't even hacking. Like a COT is specifically designed to like break open locks.
Well, yes, but I'm designed to hack things, you know. That's okay. Whatever.
Well, keep in mind that what you were also doing was also like notably difficult even for a skilled hacker. Brute forcing is not easy.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. If like, for example, if it was something simple like Noel's just hacking a fucking soda machine and you made him roll, I would call bullshit, right?
I
But like,
hacked a locker.
no. But if it's like a highly secure locker or something, like a hyper locker or whatever the fuck, right?
I
For
mean
whatever reason, it's
that
a
wasn't even that
difficult
wasn't
roll in
even
the first
max.
place.
I
Then
have
yeah, okay.
I have
what
one of
made
the
the roll
highest rolling
difficult?
chances. I have one of the highest hacking or infosec out of any possible person by the game standards getting into a locker.
But it's brute forcing, which is more difficult. Like hacking in Eclipse phase, unless it's done with like a decent time frame, is difficult,
I mean,
and
it
which
was
is
done in 5 seconds, to be fair.
yeah, that's impressive. Like being
If you
able to
managed to hack it in 5 seconds, it would still be impressive. Like, towards the end of the game,
This
yeah,
is
sure, that should be obvious
this
for
is
you to be able
also
to do, but
why
towards the beginning, like, I don't know.
this is also why it's oftentimes why hacking characters in Eclipse phase have like insight pools that are high, so you can remove those negative modifiers.
Uh, yeah, I think it's mostly just the system, honestly.
Also, keep in mind that you were trying to hack in with your rogue module, not your wizard module.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Actually, you could have. Now that I think about it, there was no reason why you couldn't use your wizard module. It was within radio
No,
range.
it was the same reason why Corellia couldn't have his sword on him.
No, but like it was in radio range.
You told me that nothing could get through the thick walls. That was explained last session. That's why I couldn't use the T-ray emitter through the wall.
Well, T-rays and radio waves are different.
Also, on another fact, I didn't know that hacking was remote. I didn't know you actually didn't have to interface with it for it
Oh
to
yeah,
be
absolutely,
hacked.
it's wireless.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, in fact,
I thought it was
that's
some like NFC type bullshit or something. I don't know.
no. Actually, the hardest things to hack into are the things that aren't wireless because then you have to physically plug into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, jack in.
Yeah,
But
in fact,
anyway,
Like Cyberpunk.
But anyway, either way, any lock, I'm literally just not gonna hack it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
actually, if you say so, if it's that morale destroying for you,
It's not worth the effort. When
actually,
not
it actually
when
it
not
is.
even when Corellia doesn't even have to roll for it. Corellia
Well,
can literally just pick it.
oh no, he did.
He did roll for it. He just rolled well. Yeah.
Did he?
I think he has a 60 in the stat and he rolled a 40.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that a COT is very
okay.
brutish in how it works. It always logs, basically, it always gets logged as an event, which means that, uh, it means that there is proof that someone opened it by force.
Sure.
So it's easier, quote unquote, but in terms of covertness, it's not the best option.
Sure. Anyway,
Sorry.
you wanna go over the session, the session that just happened? Because that was one of the things that we did say you were gonna go over. Like, how'd the session go?
If you wanted to continue talking about it, yeah.
I don't like the way the session went, honestly.
And how
You're
come?
bringing up a lot of issues, and I'm a very self-conscious person. You brought up some issues, and then there was Pittacus. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he'll last long. I think
Pittacus is
like
extremely picky, like overly picky.
very, very fuck. I've never had
I
to,
will say
honestly.
that directly to his face. He is extremely picky, and as much as I want to sugarcoat it, at the beginning I did sugarcoat it. At this point, I can't sugarcoat it. He's extremely picky. Like
Yeah,
I'm pretty picky when it comes to like I'm pretty like picky and a little bit bitter when it comes to rules, but he like he's on like the next step.
Yeah, like I'll say he intimidated me because I've never actually had to deal with a critic like this before.
Like he
Like,
criticized Session Zero. Like I didn't even know what the fuck a Session Zero was.
yeah, for him
Like
it was very
it didn't
much
really
my
make
way
sense for
or
me.
the highway. It's like he has this very specific way of doing it. And he was talking about something called Session 0.5, which I never heard of when I tried to. Explain. I didn't know it. He thought I was new to being a dungeon master, which, to be honest, I don't understand. Like, 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 I don't understand. Like
Like,
I've never heard of 0.5 either. I've been
Yeah,
doing this
exactly.
shit for 4 years.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't.
been
What?
doing
he's
this
basically a
for
veteran.
I've been doing this for like maybe 6 years now. Never heard of
Oh,
it, and that's just being a dungeon master. I started in high school.
okay. Sorry, I thought you meant like you were inexperienced as a dungeon master for a second.
No, no,
Like
no.
when you said that you're not a very good dungeon master.
I'm not, well, okay, I will never admit to being a good at anything. I'm just naturally humble. Like
Uh,
I have
okay,
been
sure.
told I've been told by friends I'm very good. I don't necessarily agree because I forget rules constantly. I'm constantly disorganized. And again, there was things like what happened this session that
Here,
just made me it just did not make me feel like I am up to standard
here's
of a
the
good
thing.
dungeon master.
Here's the thing. Yes, in the moment, you tend to crack under pressure. However, in the context of Eclipse phase, it is a massive undertaking, and honestly, I do not blame you at all.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're
Keep in
doing a
mi-
pretty good job for the setting.
Keep in
Yes.
mind that
For how much pressure you're under.
I also have rules from first edition stuck in my head too, and
Sure,
Yes.
yeah.
it's not always easy to differentiate between the two. In fact, there's
Yeah.
still new rules that I'm learning all the time as I go through the book
I
that
can
I'm like,
understand
oh
that.
wow, I did that completely stupid. Okay.
Yeah. Like I get that too. Like like okay, let's bring up the Wandering Spirits again because the Wandering Spirits is
Yay.
a big hodgepodge of experiments that
Yes.
I just had to get over. Like I just kind of had to get over it. People were like, "Yeah, this is shit." And I was like, "Yeah, I
At the
know."
very beginning, I
The
100% agree.
beginning
I'm sorry,
the
but
beginning
it's
of that
you also
campaign was
accept it, so it's
absolute
fine.
awful. Yes. But there was so much I had to figure out. But even now that I have cuz the Wandering Spirits 2, honestly, I think the Wandering Spirits 2 was or another story was a good campaign with with a lot more polished rules.
Hmm.
I will
I
I
say
agree.
just
all
think I
It was
forgot a
better,
lot of the rules. That's the problem.
I will
and
say
also the players, but you know.
I
Okay.
will say
Mm.
all things considered, I am very proud of this adventure I wrote because this was like the first time I had ever done like a murder mystery intrigue thing in like ever. And I tried to flesh out characters really actually I let's go over some of the notes. I think I can spoil this for you because, we're past it.
Yeah, I think I do have a few notes I would like to add
No,
if
actually,
you
if you
want
tell me
to.
this, it'll give me a psychological evaluation of you, and I will do a thorough investigation of anything and everything that you do from now on, and be able to tell Noel exactly what's going to happen.
No,
So like
this is not it for flag breaks. Calm
so
down.
like
Oh, my bad.
I didn't
Mama
even
brain.
get I didn't even get into like the details of the interviews because like for example with Alfonso there were things uh like there was like scratches on his hands and you could attribute that to signs of a struggle, but that was meant specifically to throw you off. Likewise, his entire attitude towards the law is supposed to throw you off, but more importantly, he's someone who doesn't trust the law and he would scrutinize every detail you got wrong like a sword.
Hmm.
So
I
in that case, it would like turn the interrogation on you. You're the one being interrogated. That
honestly,
Okay.
was
honestly, I think you should have just let Corellia. I think you just should have just let Corellia take the sword and suffer the consequences of him being scrutinized by that person. I think it would have made for an interesting interview. I think it would have been like, oh, that's kind of suspicious. That's kind of weird. How do we explain that
Sussy
type of
baka
thing?
of you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have a point there. I'm not gonna deny. And I've said that even in the last session that I tend to like give players suggestions even when they don't ask for it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I honestly feel like we had too much control of the situation because as soon as I got the information, I immediately dissolved our first objective.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of ways. So the first time I ran that scenario, we didn't even get to anything because one of our players was in a sink and he had a size slate which allowed him to like read people's minds.
What the fuck?
Yes. So he was able to crack the case wide open with one roll.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
that's why you don't write murder mysteries for bitches who get mind reading, because that's
No.
fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
Well,
Or you have
no.
like mind blocking or something like that.
Well, no, I
That's
intended for that because like that's
Ah.
a way for side characters to do something useful. If
Yeah,
they
I
want to
guess.
do I like yeah, it makes it go quickly and it gets the intrigue out of the way, but at the same time, hey, if you can do it, you can do it, and I plan for that.
Yeah, sure.
Likewise, the reason why you were able to crack the case wide open was because you had a T-ray emitter.
Yeah, okay, that was another thing. I think you should not allow the players to have access to a T-rate emitter. I think that should be something like, oh,
What?
you just don't have access to that because of the situation.
No,
Like, because I
It's
feel
up to you.
like having the suspense of having to go through every single room and like finding other clues and like other things in all the rooms would
yeah,
have
I
been
get what you
interesting.
mean, but unfortunately, that means limiting player freedom in a way that just doesn't like I don't think I
Lie
could
with you.
explain.
I think
Well,
I,
not even that. It's like I couldn't even explain why. It's
That's
like
fair.
it's like, are you kidding me? T-ray emitters are incredibly common, and you can't even really regulate them either because there are practical uses for them,
I mean, I guess.
both in military and civilian use.
I
So it's
think
like,
I think
yeah,
at that point, at that point, you might just have to make it because like this is a common thing in D&D where they ban certain things, especially certain spells,
It's
like
it's mostly just
polymorph,
detect magic
detect
and
magic,
yes,
dispel magic. Those are
polymorph,
the two.
dispel magic. What else?
yeah. But
Cure,
so my philosophy with
curse,
this,
remove
it goes
curse,
back to what I said way earlier in this old
resurrection.
podcast, and that is subtlety. And that's my approach to railroading is you have to make it look like it's the player's choices. Like you have to make it look like they have options even though they don't. That is how
Fair
you do
enough.
railroading. So like just to tell the player no you can't do that because reasons, that is ham-fisted railroading. That is like control freak DM does not let the players have any fun, does not let them solve the situation the way they want to. When I made this adventure, I made it thinking about all the potential ways the players could crack it.
Mm-hmm.
And while it does take away from the intrigue, it would also make them feel good about themselves because decisions they made and characters they made actually did something.
That's a good way to look at it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the players. This is like a culmination of the players'
Yeah.
previous efforts and
Grant,
character that they can
Mm-hmm.
solve it so easily.
like, honestly, this would make like without player intervention, this would make a good murder mystery novel. But that's the thing, it's not, and I do not have complete control of the narrative.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think one thing you did do well was not telling me what the hell I was looking at through the T-ray emitter. It's like, ah, yes, there's this black object. You have no fucking clue what this is.
I didn't
You
even
have to
describe it as
actually
black.
physically.
I
Well,
didn't even
okay.
describe its color.
Well, okay. So I'm just thinking of like a spectrum of like T-ray emitter. What color are T-rays when you look at them through enhanced vision?
A color that cannot be described with ordinary human eyes.
Okay, if you
That's
were to
that's
display them on a display, what color would they be? Because every display has a representative color.
I would say something very mute, like a gray, like some sort of shade.
Okay, and solid objects would be black then.
I don't know, like, have you ever looked through a thermal camera and like it's all in black and white?
Okay, that's thermals. That's because you can go both ways on that spectrum. Like let's say you see an object through like an X-ray. If that object is extremely dense, it'll come out black. If the X-rays can't get through it, it'll come up black.
I guess you have a point, but it's mute colors are mute colors regardless of shade. Anyways, continue.
Okay, anyway. So you just said it was an object that came back on my T-rays that could not be identified. it was just this object. I had a general size, general description, so I actually had to go in and get it the normal way.
Mm.
I think that was good.
Yeah, believe it or not, that was not an addition in the original adventure. I added that like a few weeks ago.
Because we took the T-rays.
No, no. Uh, I don't know.
Oh, you meant the blue box.
Yeah, the blue box.
Oh,
That was something I added just like as well. I'm gonna say no more.
I think it's a good like side plot device, if it is.
Yeah, it that was another reason I put in was as like a red herring. It's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is this doing here? Like, just to like make you think even more like complicated than it had to.
yeah, and
That's one of the
it was actually an interesting thing because that was the only one that asked about gate crashing, and so the
Yeah,
rest of the party had a reason to know that knowledge.
yeah. That was a
And
problem, but
actually, in
as
character, technically, if my character was the only one there that knew about gate crashing, not saying he was, but I could have shared that information with the party,
I think
kind of
it's
thing.
quite common.
Yeah,
It's like looking at a picture of a deep sea angler. It's like you've probably never seen that thing in your life. You've probably never been in a submarine, but you've probably seen it on documentaries or in memes or something.
yeah. I'm just saying like theoretically.
But what you bring up is actually a good point, and that is I actually had to explain what gate crashing was to everyone. That was a problem, but it wasn't a problem that was in my control because it's
Yeah,
not up to me to educate everyone on the fluff.
yeah, that's fair. But it was a thing that our characters should have known in character. So
Yes.
that's the reason you told them.
Well,
Because if it was
yeah.
just something that one of our characters offhandedly known, then they would have told the party.
Yeah, it's also why I had to digress into the Lost Generation.
Yeah. Well, no, because we talked about asyncs last time.
Yeah, and how
Because what's his face was an
every
async.
member of the Lost Generation is an async. In fact, when you choose that background, like you have to, by rules, take the psi trait.
Yeah.
What
Which
I
makes
find quite fascinating about the psi trait, though, is or actually no, about like asyncs having the sorry, the Lost Generation being asyncs is what I meant to say. Fuck, I'm tired. Is that I if there is any fluff behind it, I have not been able to find it. I haven't been digging enough. But it's just like, why does this like how did they all get infected like simultaneously?
yeah, I think that is a one of the problems with Eclipse Phase is that it leaves a lot of questions and there is a lot of confusion even in
There just
400
aren't
pages
enough
or whatever.
answers,
Well,
so the DM has to answer a lot of questions.
well, okay, so the reason why they do that is so that it's some because conspiracy is a part of the game's like aesthetic. So the idea is leave these questions unanswered so that the players and the dungeon master can like work together and reveal them. Like you would decide how it happened, and like it could be woven into the narrative of your adventure the way you want it to.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah,
left intentionally blank.
but I mean like little stuff. Like when we were talking about the tools, how it was just like not told like how long it takes. Like we had to just use a plasma cutter for reference because that was the only
There
tool
are
in that
some,
group
yeah, there are
that
some
was like
things, there are some
representative.
tools and equipment which aren't described nearly as well as they should.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, that's definitely points I have to deduct off a review of this TTRPG. They don't, they try their best, but they
Yeah,
don't always describe things well in detail. Like, they describe the tensile strength of a spindle cable, but they don't describe the size of a specimen container.
yeah, like stuff like that. Like where you had to like, all right, it's kind of this big, I guess, in the like practice thing.
Yeah,
It's like
fuck.
okay, it's hold. Okay, we know it is holding. we know kind of what size it is. Can we hold it with two hands? We have no idea because we don't know the actual size of it. Like,
Mm.
it's like, huh. So we kind of just gotta guess a little bit.
Also, I try to like be intentionally vague and skirt across those questions because I know that they like bog down things. And one thing that I'm self-conscious of is just the event taking too long.
Hmm.
And like again, I don't want 15 minutes of rules lawyering and people researching real life physics. Because
I
like
think.
for fuck's sakes, especially when it's a stream, people want to watch this shit for entertainment. They
Look,
don't want
Yeah,
to.
I
man,
think
I'm
the
a
stream.
biochem major. We want to talk about nerdy shit. I will fucking talk your goddamn head off.
I think that's another thing is that well, 2 points. One, when it's a stream, it's a lot harder for like those things because as a DM for me, I do case like I do day like week by week basis for how I build my story.
I do too. In fact, that's
And
exactly why I ended the stream early so that I could build the next
oh
section
yeah.
based off of the events of this one.
Yeah, but like for me, when the party derails but they're having fun, I'm like, yes, I just saved some content that I can use next week. Because it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to make as much because
Mm.
I can save that content for later, and they'll get to it when they get to it. But as long as they're having fun. But for a stream, it's like we got to get through it because people are
By the way,
watching it. They've got to
there
actually be
was
entertained.
one thing about the Pandora Gates I want to mention, but I didn't have time to because like I didn't want to derail it. And I do want to
Mm-hmm.
mention this now because this is probably one of my favorite bits of lore about the gates.
Oh yeah, 8 minute
Uh
warning by the way.
this won't be long though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Just letting you guys know.
there's a specific gate called the Discord Gate, which is on the moon of Eris. It's one of the 5 gates in the solar system. It's gotten a very fitting name considering how many times it has been fought over by like
Really.
anarchists, ex-humans, and like corporations with private militaries. But here's the thing. Uh, at one point, the company that operated it, they were trying to like tinker with the gate to try and do something. And what happened was it's very poorly described, probably because nobody survived.
Ah.
All we know is that there was a very regular crater where the gate was.
Ah. I
Like
see.
very
It was just a
regular, as
kind
if
of no one was in the room where it happened kind of thing, but
oh
we
no,
can
people
kind
were
of
in the room. It's
guess.
just those people. Well, like I said, the entire facility is gone.
No one living in was in the room where it happened.
Well, that's the question. We don't even know if they died because, like I said, it was a very regular crater. It wasn't like an explosion. It was like a wormhole or a black hole just ate up the facility.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
it's
like,
somewhere we can't contact them. We have no idea what happened to them. They're
yeah.
Or
basically dead.
something.
Oh, but here's the thing. The gate eventually repaired itself.
It just respawned.
Yeah. In fact, that was probably the only incident wherein it was recorded that the gates themselves have like some sort of self-repair capability. It takes like months or years sometimes. But yep, they
They
can
just
repair themselves.
regenerate and just
Y-
reappear.
Which I mean, it certainly helps make sense considering how old these gates must be. Like
Oh
there have
yeah.
been gates that have been found in solid rock or
Huh.
like or like in the upper atmosphere of gas giants or on big biological masses floating above water or just like floating like a natural satellite around a star and no planet or moon
The
attached
gate
to
is
it.
just floating there.
Yeah, the gates
What
are
the fuck?
weird. By the way, I should note that just so you get a visual, these aren't like some portal, like some like hoop or a door. Uh the actual gate itself is like a bubble, like a black hole, like a black sphere that just
Ah.
creates. It's created in the center of this big cage. And you just walk into this sphere, and you come out the other side.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a Stargate. It's more of like an orb that you walk into.
Yeah, but it's still the same functionality, right? You could call it a
Yeah.
Stargate because it's just a spherical Stargate.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Let me see if I can find a picture for you before stream ends.
I mean, yeah, I think the closest thing would be like a black hole, or if you're talking about like the cage thing, it's kind of similar to what's it called? Um, I guess the end, like the end crystals, how they're kind of just an orb that float there instead of a cage.
Uh, Here's a picture,
Yeah, I got
and
you.
here's another picture. So, by the way, the entire hole itself is generated. It's not always there. In fact,
Oh
when not in
shit.
use, the hole isn't there at all.
Oh
Okay.
wait, I clicked the wrong thing. My bad. Wait, I was trying to click browser.
But yeah, gate crashing it's actually one of the few things about the Eclipse phase saying I am very ignorant to. I don't know that much about it. All I know
It's
is that there
fair.
very few people actually get the access to it, and there's like a lottery process for becoming
Really?
a gate crasher, pretty much.
Hmm.
Like there's like maybe a handful of them in existence. Uh,
Well, it's a siren
not not really.
from Borderlands.
No, not really. It's not like that. It's just like basically you got to be like gate crashers have to be people who take their job seriously, and there's even specific protocols
So it's
of
not literally just random. Okay.
it's like literally a lottery.
So it is just random.
No, like a literal lottery. Like you have to submit a ticket.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, you're chosen at random, and you better be competent. And like I said, there's like entire procedures in the books about like what to do when you go through a gate for the first time, like a new gate. There's protocols about how to explore new worlds and how they use probes to do it first and how they like send them through a wormhole the size of like a centimeter. And there's
Mm.
like different stages to seeing if it's safe. Oh, so I don't know much about gate crashing, but I do know this. We have seen evidence of alien life that's actually existed. Like, or like still exists. There was apparently like a vehicle, like a truck, that was completely alien, full of artifacts, and like transhumans just looted them and left.
Really?
Yeah, and by the way, there are protocols for first contact. Uh, Also, did I mention that transhumanity has made first contact? Technically,
What do you mean first con? Like with aliens?
yes.
Oh,
I may have mentioned this before because
oh
we were
wait,
talking
hold on. Noel, what's our time again?
We
two
are
minutes.
at 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it there, but let's just say look to else for inspiration.
Cool.
But if you
Elves?
really want to look it up, look
Like
up
aura
eclipse phase
or actually
factors.
elves?
Look up eclipse phase and factors, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But
Okay.
it's been a pleasure, but a minute's up, and I want to go to bed now.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you for joining us.
Yes, it was slow at
And
first, but we really got into the energy later on, and it was
yeah,
Yep.
fun.
yeah.
It is, you know.
It's whatever.
Any last announcements, everyone?
I am going to be. I want to stream Synthetic 2 tomorrow evening, roughly around the time we started Eclipse Phase. If any of you two or anyone in the audience wants to watch. It's gonna be fucked up though, because
You're
like
streaming
we've
what?
like we've discussed before, it's not optimized well, and there's probably gonna be stuttering and shit.
You're streaming what?
Synthetic too.
Ah, okay. Oh yeah, that was the one you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, Mandado.
Anyways, good night, gentlemen. May we
Night.
meet again soon.
All right,
Yep.
give me 1 sec. Mandado, any last announcements?
No, actually, I think we're just okay.
All right, and remember, tomorrow we'll be over at Anime Dallas at the Hyatt, and yeah, at the airport. Yeah.
That's about
All
it.
right. Thank you, everyone. This has been the Degeneration Podcast, episode 37, the podcast for the
Podcast for the
degenerate generation.
generations.
Are you fucking mocking me? Bye.
Signing off.
Everyone say bye.
Bye.
Bye.